Using his freedom of speech to its fullest extent, it's Jon James and Freedom's Pep Rally. Now, America's friendliest host, your buddy, Jon James.
Good morning. Welcome back. Freedom's Pep Rally. Jon James here on the radio, in the air, and in your face. If you're watching on one of our many video channels, my chair keeps going down. I don't know. The hydraulics are either bad or I'm just too fat for it. I'm not really sure what, but anyway, we'll make do. So we've got a guest this hour, and I just now got her on the phone, and I already know she is amazing. I tell you, and I haven't even really had a long conversation with Vermelle Greene yet. Vermelle Greene, welcome to Freedom's Pep Rally.
Jon, thank you so much for helping me. Having me.
No,
You're helping me too.
It's great. It's great to have you here. Can you hear me okay now?
I can. I'm getting a little bit of echo. Okay, it just went away. Okay.
Okay, good.
I'm good.
All right. Now, you have been an educator for how many years, and where are you an educator?
Well, effective this fall, it's marked 47 years.
Wow.
47 years. Yeah, I started in 1974, basically in Maryland, teacher, administrator, even up to the college level.
Wow. And
I've been around.
And you've been an administrator for some of those years.
I was, yes.
In what capacity? Principal, superintendent, both?
I was the assistant principal in public school, and then after I retired, I started my own school at my church, a school for boys.
Good for you. Good for you. And boys learn differently than girls, and that's the crux of our conversation, right?
Absolutely. They do learn differently, and unfortunately, too many teachers in education do not realize that. Hence, our boys are underperforming our girls. They are truly in crisis, especially in academics. Wow.
Now, what is the main reason for this? I believe that. I understand that because as was the thing, which wasn't real hard to see even for a kid, girls tend to be more, I don't know how to put it, astute. They pay attention better. They seem more eager to learn. And boys just, want to be goofballs. Is that part of it?
Well, a big part of it, though, Jon, is the fact that, 80-90% of teachers are female, and we tend to teach the way that we learn. Oh. So the way that we teach is connecting with the girls. A lot of reading, a lot of talking, a lot of writing. Now, our boys aren't stupid, but instruction needs to be changed to meet their learning needs. They don't like to sit. They like to move. They are very visual. They like to see. They don't want to see a lot of print on the page. They want to see pictures. They don't want people to just keep them seated for hours on end. They want to get up and have a break and do a little recess, and they could come back and concentrate. So the whole way that teachers teach is very girl-friendly, not so much for boys.
Wow. I can't believe I'm hearing this actually being said. And it's one of those things that as soon as you said it, I'm saying, yes, that's it. That is you're absolutely right. And this goes not just for public schools or private schools. I mean, homeschooling, I guess any kind of schooling, this is a very important thing to know.
Absolutely, it is. In fact, my only problem was that I only learned it right before I retired. And I thought about all those poor little boys who I could have helped, who I lectured to death, I taught biology, and I would have them just writing and taking notes. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, those poor little fellows. Even my own son, Jon, when he was drawing pictures of pirates getting their heads cut off and blood guts. I thought something was wrong with them. I said, oh my goodness, I'm growing an axe murderer. I took him to a psychiatrist. I didn't realize that that's the way that boys draw. That's the way that they think. And I praise God because he didn't turn into an axe murderer. In fact, he works in the government, so I guess he must have passed a security clearance. But that's just the way that boys are. But I didn't understand that, and that's happening all over the place, where parents are being told there's something wrong with your son. He won't sit still. He won't focus. He's drawing these weird pictures. He's writing these weird stories. There must be something wrong with him. Maybe he needs medication. And these poor parents thinking, well, my son's teacher says he might need to be evaluated, and his physician says, well, okay, I've got this Adderall, I've got this Ritalin, that'll calm him down. In other words, medicating our little boys into girls.
Wow. And you're so right. Adderall, Ritalin, been there, done that, seen that. That's amazing. And you have literally nailed it. It's not necessarily because a kid has attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's just that they are maybe bored, maybe whatever. I mean, boredom, I'm sure, is a part of it. If you're making a kid sit there and read. One of the things, Vermelle, that I noticed when I was in school is, and what you say about the pictures and the engagement, and I actually liked that part of school. I liked it when there was some talking back and forth with the teacher and people were doing things. I did not like sitting there and having to read 3 chapters of a book and then write a report on it. I would get bored. I wouldn't do it. And of course, most of the girls would be quiet and do their thing. And I was a disruptive lad. Let's be kind. I wasn't mean, but I was disruptive. And this is why. And rather than diagnose somebody with something that they may or may not have, you've got to look for different ways to educate, is what you're saying.
That's exactly. You hit the nail on the head, John. That's exactly what needs to happen. And unfortunately, teacher education courses and programs and universities, they don't teach it. And so we have these young teachers, a lot of them female, who are coming in front of classes, and they're so excited about teaching, and yet in the back of the room there are a group of boys who are just turning the place out, and they are clueless as to what to do. So someone says, well, maybe they need to be in a special education class. You look at a special education class, you see, 80 to 90% are boys, especially being a black woman. I'm really concerned that a lot of those boys are black and brown. Yep. That they, instead of having their needs met, not just because they're males, but some of their cultural needs met as well, they are being relegated to special education classes in numbers far outnumbering the numbers in talented and gifted classes, especially for all of our boys. And even it goes up through high school into college, where the majority of matriculates to college are female. So we have these young boys who are disillusioned about school altogether, counting down to the point where they can graduate and get out of school, where many of them, and I'm not speaking in generalities, there are many of our boys who are very successful in school,
right,
who have done well, at the valedictorian and salutatorians in their school programs. But unfortunately, they're an aberration. Most of our boys aren't there yet. But hopefully, teachers will get the message. They pick up books like mine, Please Teach Me Like I'm a Boy, and there are other authors out there. And we're all pounding the same drum. Boys learn differently than girls. There's a crisis. Our boys are failing. Our boys need help. And, unfortunately, it's not coming from the government. It's going to have to come from the grassroots.
Right. Absolutely. Please teach me like I'm a boy. 10 steps to his success in school and in life. I love this. I love this is such such a great topic, and I was unsure about where we were going. I knew it was going to be good because as soon as I heard your voice, I knew it was going to be good, but I had no idea. This is really enlightening. I mean, this literally a light bulb comes on. Now, I've got to ask you, Vermelle Greene. By the way, Vermelle Greene is the author of Please Teach Me Like I'm a Boy. I would assume that's on available on all the platforms, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and so forth.
You're correct, yes.
So make sure. And do you have a personal website where people can get it?
Well, not to get the book, but I work with an organization called the Boys Initiative.
Yep.
theboysinitiative.org, where people can go on and they can get information about other things, including my book, and also some of the authors on our advisory board who are all believing the same thing, who are out there working to educate people on boy-girl learning differences. And also, we are recruiting advocates and activists who will be just as vocal as those parents were in Virginia about CRT.
Yep.
We want them to be just as animated and vocal about the boy crisis. So we ask people to go on our website, sign up for our newsletters so they are kept up to date as to what's happening with our boys.
That's so cool. And by the way, I just posted on the video. If you're watching on a video platform, Carol has gone ahead and posted the Amazon link to your book, so you can check that out. We've got Ed said Connie and I have been there with our kids and Ritalin, and a lot of us have. I mean, this is just very eye-opening and very good for, parents might be able to avoid these pitfalls and unfortunately medicating students that they get into. And hopefully it doesn't do any long-term damage, but it may just be unnecessary. I've got to ask you, as a Black woman of Vermelle, what are your thoughts on a couple of things? First of all, the narrative going around that math is somehow racist, and I've never been able to wrap my mind around that.
Yes, and I heard that too, and forgive me for laughing, but it is laughable. I mean, do they realize that math was invented by the Egyptians? Many math concepts came right out of Africa.
That's great.
And also in regards to education, I remember my grandmother telling me many years ago, girl, you get yourself a good education and the world will be waiting for you. And that is true today. To me, to discourage our Black children from education, be it math or science or reading, to me, that discouragement, that is racist. In fact, remember back in the days of slavery,
right.
It was against the law to educate your slaves because they knew that education, that knowledge is power. So to me, I would turn it right back on those people who say that. No, our children need to be educated. They need math and every other subject as well, because that is the key to help them to excel.
So, what is the purpose of telling people math is? By the way, I love you. I love what you're saying, and I love the laugh after that math is racist question. I think that spoke volumes. But what is the end game of the discouragement when it comes to math? And also, if you can get into this a little bit, when it comes to critical race theory, why are they pushing that so hard? Why are they telling us that math is racist? Why are they doing this? Is this all part of divide and conquer, do you think?
You are on point, John. It is divide and conquer. Revolutionaries have been active for decades and decades, since the early 1900s with the Bolshevik Revolution. And then, and especially even before then in France with the revolution. But then it was based on class because everybody looked alike. Everybody was the same skin color.
Right.
So they said, okay, well, we can divide by class, the haves and the have-nots. And the haves will be the oppressors and the have-nots are the oppressed. Well, in this country, that didn't quite work because as a capitalist society, we all have access to wealth. So that kind of spirit of division, that kind of revolutionary spirit said, okay, we can divide by race and we can cause dissension and we can cause division because this is the United States. What makes us great is that we are united. Many different colors of people from different cultures who have come into the American dream. We are Americans. And so I got nervous back in the 1960s and 70s when they started hyphenating Americans, Italian Americans, Black Americans, European Americans. I said, wait a minute, what's with this hyphenated? We're all Americans.
Right.
So this is the only way that America can be conquered, is if she is divided. And they have latched onto the fact that there's still some underlining resentment out there based on race. We can really activate this. We can capitalize on that. And that's what they've done. And it's a shame because many of our people, they're so, delusion. They're under a delusion that this is what will make our country great. And the exact thing is happening. The exact opposite thing is happening. It is not making our country great. It is making our country weak.
It is
very weak.
Wow. You're spot on with that. And actually, race is the primary way they're dividing us. And now they are really expanding things. Now they're dividing us not only by race, they're dividing us by class because, of course, the billionaires have to, we have to spread the wealth around. And then they're dividing us by the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. And it just goes on and on. They can't divide us into enough different segments. And if they do this enough, if they make each segment small and they get us doing so much infighting and there are so many factions going against each other, we aren't paying attention as they usurp power from us and control us. And I'm afraid that's what's happening right now, Vermelle.
I believe what you're saying is exactly right. And it pains me, and I've been in prayer because I don't want this happening. I love my country. I love what it has become. We are the greatest nation on earth, the greatest nation that has ever been. And when we get away from the values that has made us great, when we get away from the faith that has made us great, then our country, it's looked to be destroyed. And I think of my 6 grandchildren. I'm in my 70s. I'll be close to 70 in just a couple of months. And it's not so much for me, but I think about my grandchildren and your grandchildren, John. What kind of country are they going to grow up with? So we have to do this. If not for ourselves, then for our children.
Wow, you're an amazing person, Vermelle Greene. I've got to tell you that. This is, in fact, people are saying what a great guest, and I love this. And I hope everybody gets the book. Please Teach Me Like I'm a Boy, 10 Steps to His Success in School and in Life. This is so important. Whether you're a parent or a grandparent, you've really got to grab onto this, and you've got to understand what it's all about. And it's something that I think we subliminally may have known it or realized it. We knew why we were bored. Let me say that. We knew that we were bored because we didn't like to read. We didn't like to write reports. We didn't like to sit in study hall for an hour and a half reading or doing homework, while the girls all, for the most part, were compliant and did theirs. That was all well and good. But there's a reason for it, and it's because we learn differently, and we knew it, but we didn't verbalize it. We didn't say, well, you need to teach us differently because we're bored. They would just slap an attention on you, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
They wouldn't have understood.
Yeah.
The teachers wouldn't have known what to do. Teach you like you're a boy. I'm gonna teach you like everybody,
right.
I'm gonna teach you equally. And that's not helping them. That's not helping. And when you talk about reading too, John, reading has not been taught properly to our boys or our girls. Reading has been focused on what's called whole language, memorizing words. Back in the day, the only people who couldn't read, like back in my grandmother's day, the only people who couldn't read are kids who never went to school. Because back then, they taught you how to read using systematic, explicit phonics. That's how I learned to read. My grandmother taught me. So that when I went to school and they started talking about see Dick run, run, run Dick, see Jane run, I'm like, what in the world? Where are the real books? Because that is the method of whole language, getting the kids to memorize words. And that's fine if your language only consists of maybe a few hundred words. But a language like English, where you have thousands and thousands of words, you can't memorize them all. Your brain can't handle that.
Right.
And so we have all these children who don't know how to read because they haven't memorized all the words. But if they are taught by the science of reading how to sound out words and then working on the comprehension, then we can turn our nation, instead of a nation of illiterate, we can turn them into literate. And this is really hurting our boys, even more so than our girls, because our boys, if they can't read, that's the foundation of all education. I can't read, and I get embarrassed if you ask me to read. So rather than suffer the embarrassment, I'll become the class clown. Then you'll have to send me out, and then you might have to even suspend me from school. But at least I'm not embarrassed because you haven't taught me how to read.
Wow. I'm dumbfounded by this. Now in the book, Please Teach Me Like I'm a Boy. Do you have some lessons for parents? And I mean, you should be on a national stage saying, okay, listen up here. You be a teacher, say, listen up, class. This is how we do it. And then give the lesson. And I would like to think in this book, maybe there are some of these lessons you're giving us now in the book, because I love this. I absolutely do.
I do give some tips, and I also give resources where parents and teachers and educators of all types, and even the public at large, can go to these different sources and get this information. One book can't contain it all.
Right.
So I say, here's some websites, here's things. The information is out there. Unfortunately, there just seems to be a segment in society that is out to destroy our boys and destroy our men even. You know, that men are made to be out to be, what's the term, toxic?
Toxic masculinity, right.
Oh, don't get me started on that. Don't get me started. And then there's our president, you know, he started a gender council. And those of us in this boy arena, we got excited. We said, oh, a gender council. They're going to be studying about boys and girls and how. But then you look at the gender council, and it's all about helping women and girls. Well, you know, I want you to help our women and girls. You know, I used to be a little girl, and I am a woman.
Right.
But don't ignore our boys and our men. This is not a zero-sum game. We can help them all, especially our little boys. Help them build that foundation, because if our boys aren't educated, if they aren't given the skills that they need to succeed in society, then unfortunately they resort to an underground economy. Because they're going to survive. They have to survive.
Right.
And so when they have this nice college-educated girlfriend, you know, who wants to be taken out in a nice car and taken out to a nice dinner and someday even, you know, married, and he's thinking, well, I work at McDonald's, you know, and she's like, excuse me? So, you know, we have to do this for society. We have to.
Oh, Vermelle Greene. That's amazing. The book, again, Please Teach Me. It's up on the screen right now if you're watching on video. Vermelle Greene, Please Teach Me Like I'm a Boy. But that's the name of the book. You can find it Amazon. You can find it Barnes & Noble, anywhere fine books are sold. And I've got to ask you, do you actually conduct, by the way, hard to believe you're 70 years old. I can't even believe that, for one thing.
God is good.
Oh, my God is good. Amen. But I've got to ask you, do you do workshops for teachers where you have like co-ed, you know, male and female teachers, and say, you know, this is something every teacher should be taught in college, I would think. I mean, you have unlocked something amazing here. And if there are colleges that aren't teaching it, or teachers who aren't trying to figure it out, then there's a lot of time being lost and a lot of kids not being educated correctly.
You're right, John. And I do teach workshops. And also, it's not just me, that there are other organizations, and I list some in my book. And if you go on theboysinitiative.org, We even list workshops and conferences. In fact, there's one coming up next spring. I'll make sure that it's on our website as well, where it is a course. In fact, it's a credit course being taught by an organization called Learn, Lern. It's a different spelling,
Okay.
LERN.org. They will have a credit course where a teacher can get graduate credit. It's going to be in March, I believe. It's being taught by William Draves and Julie Coates, who wrote the book Smart Boys, Bad Grades, that talk about how our boys are intelligent, but they're just not getting the grades to reflect the fact that they are intelligent. So, again, theboysinitiative.org with a lot of resources. Also, they can contact me through that website as well. I do workshops. I tend to stay in the Mid-Atlantic area, but I will venture out occasionally. In fact, I'm going to be doing a couple of homeschool conventions, one in Ohio and one in South Carolina next spring. So I do get out, and as you said, when I present this information to teachers, they're all like, a light bulb will go
Yeah,
off.
right,
They'll say,
right.
well, that's why he acts like, that's why she can do that and he can't. That's why. And so it just needs to get out. Unfortunately, that whole idea is not popular. So you never see us on NBC or ABC or that stuff like that. But hopefully the word will get out. Just like it got out with these parents in Virginia spreading the word. Hopefully it will get out some way because our boys need our help.
This is absolutely amazing, and I love the credit course, and I love the fact that your book provides not only the story that makes people understand the difference in the brains and the thinking of boys and girls. Amazing that you figured that out and were able to put it in writing, but you also provide all the resources necessary in the book so people can do their own research. And I think that's worth its weight in gold, Vermelle Greene. That really is. You're an outstanding person. I've got to tell you that. I mean, you are an outstanding person. I can tell right away. You're kind. You're smart, and you're full of vim and vinegar. I'll tell you that. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Thank you. Glory.
Whoops, you there? Hello, Vermelle? Oh no. Have I lost her? Oh goodness.
John,
John,
there?
There you go. I was afraid.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
I pressed the button.
Okay. I thought, was it me? And I was looking around. I don't think I touched anything. Oh, wow.
No,
I was afraid.
Sorry, it was me. But I was just saying that this is a mission for me. And, sometimes I get tired and I say, oh, God, can't I just rest and sit in my rocking chair? And he just says, nope, get up.
Oh, wow.
In fact, I'm here now in North Carolina working with a school on the same thing, helping them with their boys.
Oh, that is so you're in the Carolinas now. We're not too far away. I mean, we're a ways north, but you ought to swing into.
Wait a minute. John, you're in Maine.
Yeah, that's just a ways north. It's a nice place except the winter.
You know what? I was in Maine. I better stop. I was in Maine. I was in Trenton, Maine for 2 weeks.
Really?
The end of July into August. I was up in your beautiful state.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Eating lobster. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're down there. You must have gone out to Bar Harbor down on Mount Desert Island and all that if you were in Trenton. That's nice. Beautiful part of the state. Well, maybe.
Is.
Yeah. Yeah. You haven't seen anything, though, till you go north into desolation and see the mountains and the trees and the moose and the deer, and that's about it. And that's my kind of living right there. Although I'm not.
All right.
That's where I like to visit. I'm not there right now, but that's where I like to go when I can. But I encourage everybody to get the book. Please teach me like I'm a boy, 10 steps to his success in school and in life. Not only can you learn for yourself if you're a homeschooler, but you can maybe help teach the teachers at your kids' or grandkids' schools if you have the knowledge and want to share the resources and encourage them to get this book. This is This is a must read. I can't wait to read this, Vermelle. I really can't. My kids are grown up, but I can't wait to read this. I got grandkids now.
Yes.
And my daughter is, my grandson is 3 years old. He just turned 3. And she's got a little room for him, and they go in every day for an hour or so, and she teaches him. And this is going to be an incredible resource. This is just awesome. She's a real hands-on mom, and she will love this. So,
oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Good for her.
So I don't know, what haven't we mentioned that you want to mention? Because we could talk all day. There's a foundation that you created called Sacred, SACRED, Life Academy for Boys, which is a Christian school, right? Tell us a little about that.
Well, Sacred Life Academy for Boys, I began the day before 9/11, September 10th, 2001. And the school was in existence for 14 years. But finances caught up with us, and so we closed in 2015. We found that a lot of our boys were the sons of single moms, and because of that, we wanted them to be able to come, so our tuition couldn't really support the school the way that it should. So we depended on the church and was draining the church's resources, so we had to close down. But that in itself was a blessing because I was able then to be freed up to go around all over the country. I've been out to Las Vegas, down to Texas, down to Florida, up to New Jersey, around teaching and spreading the word because it's just such a need. So the school is not there, but there are other schools out there who have sprung up since that time that cater especially to our boys, and I applaud them because they too have realized that our boys are in crisis and that we need to do something different, that what has been done for years and years just is not meeting the needs of our boys.
Wow. Moss never grows on you, does it? Wow.
No. In fact, my son says, wait a minute, you're going where and doing what? It's not like you're supposed to be retired.
Right.
And I said, retired doesn't mean I'm going to be just sitting in a rocking chair playing with my fingers and toes. It means that I get to do what I want to do.
There you go.
When I want to do it.
There you go. And your husband, Vernon, is a big support, I imagine.
Oh, he is. He always just laughs when people say, oh, you're doing such a great job. He says, I'm just a driver.
I'm just a driver. Well, somebody's got a show for you around, right?
That's right.
That's great. Now, how many children do you have, Vermelle?
Children or grandchildren?
Children. You got 6 grandchildren, I think, right?
Yes. Given to me by 2 children, my son, his wife, and my daughter and her husband have blessed us with 6 beautiful grandchildren.
Wow. See, I'm working on that. I've got a son and a daughter, and I've got 5 grandchildren. So we're
right.
Yeah, so we're catching up. See, we have a lot in common already. Plus the fact you're just awesome. And so,
well, for the longest time, they didn't read the book. I said, wait a minute, I'm getting grand cats and grand dogs. When am I going to get some grandchildren? I said, have y'all read the book yet? I mean,
and then the floodgates open.
Yes,
that's good for you, and it's the best part of life, isn't it, Vermelle?
It is. It is. If I knew being a grandparent was such fun, I would have skipped the children, just gone straight to being a grandparent.
There you go. That's exactly. You never know what that means. You say, oh, you're going to love being a grandparent. You think being a parent's fun. It's going to be great being a grandparent. And I thought, everybody says that, so I'm sure it's true, but I just can't imagine it. But now I know. Now I say it. Now I sound like a grandfather. You wait till you have grandchildren. It's better than kids. You know how things come full circle, right?
Yes. They mess up, and all you have to do is say, okay, time for you to go home.
Yeah, there is so much truth to that. Unbelievable. Well, Vermelle Greene, thank you so much for your time. You are delightful. I've just had such a great time here with you.
Oh, thank you, James. Thank you for having me, John. James. I'm calling you wrong. I'm sorry.
No,
thank you, John, for having me.
People do that. People do that all the time. They do that all the time because I've got 2 first names. So actually, my middle name is a first name too, but we won't go there. Actually, you'll like it because my names are all from the Bible. My parents named me all from the Bible, Jonathan Matthew James.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there you go. And my brother's name is Daniel Peter James.
Wow.
Yeah. And
good thing they stayed in the New Testament, and because I tell you,
right.
some of those other Old Testament names, like Melchizedek or Melchizedek,
I wouldn't have minded being a Zachariah, to be honest with you, but
okay.
Well, listen, I hope we can talk again. Listeners are hoping we can talk again too. Ed says you are a joy. You need to come to Southwestern Pennsylvania. And we've got a whole bunch of people commenting. We are going to replay the video as a live video too, probably sometime either just before or during the weekend. So you'll get to hear Vermelle, and I hope you will share with everybody once we have the stream set to go when you see it appear on your whatever social media you're on. Vermelle Greene is this wonderful lady's name. Please teach me like I'm a boy, 10 steps to his success in school and in life. Every parent, every grandparent should get this book. Every teacher should be introduced to this book. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. As soon as I'm off the air, I'm getting a couple. I'll tell you that right now, if not more. So
great. Thank you so much, John. Thank you for having me.
Vermelle, thank you very much. And drop me an email and I'll make sure you get audio and I'll give you links to the video as well.
Fantastic. Okay. God bless you now. Take care.
God bless you, Vermelle. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.